Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Inshallah, we will wait a few more minutes for more people to join. Okay, inshallah, now we will begin. Let's start with Surah Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. My name is Emin and I will be your host for today. In this day and age, it is hard to connect with one another because we are so connected via social media. The social connection often leads us to follow people and trends that may not necessarily be the best for us and our iman. Today we will learn about different platforms and how to be your own individual amongst the sea of followers. Our speaker for today is Sister Safia Hussain. Sister Safia is a mother of 3 beautiful children and lives in Atlanta. She has been part of ICNA family since her childhood. She has worked with YM Sisters in different states and positions. She is currently serving with ICNA Sisters Outreach Department, and she is also pursuing her degree in Islamic law and theory. She is a very good speaker who has also been our host for Iman Booster Series. So without any further ado, Sister Safia, take the mic.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope that you guys are doing well this evening. So inshallah khair, let's start off with dua. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum again. Alright, so inshallah khair, as Ayman mentioned, we are doing a program on trend setters. Alright, now I know this is a vague topic, but inshallah we're going to go into different things, right? So in this day and age, good companionship, getting influenced in terms of good and bad has a whole different meaning now, right? Now, before I get into what is a trendsetter and what is a trend follower, for the lack of better words, let's go into what the trends are and what are the platforms that are being used. Now, the different trends that are out there could be in terms of what games you play, how you talk, how you dress, how you present yourself, what's considered cool, what's considered not cool, right? All of these things. Yeah, exactly what Hiba said. Visco girls, right? All of these things are in terms of what's going on these days. And I know there's different things going on and, but hydro flask. So what's it called? But why are these things popular? Why are we following them? That's my question for you guys today, and that's something that we're going to reflect. All right, so hashtag save the troubles. All right, so now I'm going to go into the different platforms you guys are using, and I'm seeing your comments. and they're actually funny, so keep them coming. So to the different social media platforms that we have are Instagram, we have YouTube, we have TikTok, and then obviously you have exactly Fortnite with your game consoles, whether it's PC, Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, you name it, right? Scrunchies. All right, and then you guys are young for this now. We have Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. Right? That's my generation. So what are these things? And I want to explain this to your parents who may be listening in with you guys as well. So first off, we have Instagram. Now on Instagram, yes, you post about yourself, right? And it's just like you can take nice pictures and have a little profile, but there's actually a search section of Instagram in which you can follow and look at other people. And they're known as Insta bloggers or influencers, right? Now, these people, they post many different videos and pictures with hashtags, right? Like I saw, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she put save the turtles, hashtag save the turtles, right? So there's these hashtags that go viral and people follow it. And sometimes we get into that, the bucket challenge or whatever it may be, or post black and white pictures of your life, right? Like we get into these hashtags that are viral going on, right? And they show us what is going on in their life, all right? From products they purchase to what they wear to where they travel to what they believe in, what causes they want to promote. All of these things are going on in terms of Instagram, right? Every aspect of their life is captured in these posts. Now, what we don't understand, or we do, but not really understand it completely, is that what they post is just a glamorous version. We don't know what's happening behind the scene, right? They might show, look, they got a nice little coffee and they have a little pastry, or they're on the beach trying to save the turtles, or whatever it may be, right? But in reality, they're miserable, or in reality, the table's a mess, or whatever it is. It's just a glamorous picture, right? So, what ends up happening, even though we understand that that's just a glamorous picture, subconsciously, we don't put that in our heads. We are like, you know what, man, they're going out so much, or they're so popular, or like they have so many things. And slowly, it comes into our head and we want it for ourselves. Right? So that's how like social media works. Now, what's the next one? We have TikTok and Visco girls are on there. You have your nice little trends that go in terms of, lip singing to dancing to acting out scenes. I've seen it. It's a dark hole. You can waste a lot of time on there. So this is an app where people post really interesting and sometimes not in a good way videos, right? There are trends that are happening within this app. And like I said, it could be anything. From lip singing to dancing to acting out scenes. The things in this app can be anything, and this is for parents that are PG, right? So they're good, or like family friendly to not so family friendly. And this is something that we need to be careful of. Yes, you guys may find it fun right now, but not necessarily. It could lead into other things that are not necessarily good, right? And again, how do I know this? How do I know this? Is because I downloaded it myself and gone through them, right? And the reason why is because I want to keep up with you guys. I want to understand what you guys are going through. And the only way to do that is to get down at your level, which I recommend your parents to do as well, so that there's some things to talk about. Now, next thing is YouTube. Now, YouTube, I understand it's a give or take. Some of you guys do watch it, some of you guys don't. And where do we begin with this one? We, and myself included, I have 3 kids. We let our kids watch this from the ages of 1 to forever. Even I still watch it, right? I'll watch certain videos on there. I'll watch news on there. I'll watch political documentaries on there. There's good stuff on there and there's bad stuff on there. Everything could be used for good, but it could also be used for bad, right? A lot of kids watch this to either, why do they watch this? What I've seen with this is mainly, and you guys can actually chip in on the questions or page, that you guys watch people play games, video streaming, That's what it is. Video streaming, right? They play Fortnite or they play different games or Minecraft or you name it, right? And there's commentary going on, um, entertainment, brainwashing fun, as people are saying, right? And you watch this to my kid, right? Watch challenges right there. My kid watches it to watch other people play with toys. That's a big one. He's 4, right? And it starts off playing with toys or nursery rhymes, and then it goes into imaginative play, and then it goes into video game streaming. It could go into makeup tutorials, everything and anything. Again, it's a dark wet like hole. You keep on going in there, and you waste so much time, and you don't even realize what you're taking in. Now, what's next? Game consoles. We've already covered this. Is that you have Fortnite, you have Minecraft, there was a Secret Neighbor, there's GTA, there's some games that you guys should not be playing depending on your age, right? And you guys can jointly play together, right? Roblox, yeah, that's a good game. What's it called? You guys are distracting me right now. So we have different games on there, and you play together with what? You play together with other players all around the world, and sometimes you can actually hear them talk, or you can play with them, right? And that is also scary because you'll end up being like, hey, I want to play with that player, or you become friends, and then next thing you know, you're constantly meeting up with them, right? On virtually, but that is also in a way dangerous, right? And we're going to go into that in a little bit. And like I said afterwards, we have Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. We don't really go into that. I know you guys don't do that. So those are some of the social media venues that you guys use, and you saw what the aspects are, right? And now, what is the purpose of these social media platforms? Yes, one, it is meant for hanging out, getting to know people, sharing your life, right? But the other way is it's a marketing platform, you guys, right? It's a marketing platform. You don't even realize it when you're on these things. You're like, you know what? That person had that. I want it. Or that person was playing that game that was really cool. I want to play that game. Whatever it may be, you guys end up following into that. And business majors, right? I'm an accounting major. I worked in corporate, which is business. All right, so we use these social media platforms to get more customers. That's literally what it is. And this is how you guys get into it. If you don't have this, you're not cool enough. Look at this cool person using this, therefore you should have it, right? So all of these things, these platforms are a tool for that, right? And you guys recognize YouTubers, you recognize the influencers, you recognize TikTokers, certain game players. You know who they are, and what you guys need to realize is that they are your company. They're your companions, right? Now, so it's marketing in a virtual playground, what I just mentioned before. Now I'm going to go into what is companionship. Tell me, and you guys just can answer right there, what is companionship to you guys? I'm going to give you a minute. I got friend, friendship, random people on Fortnite, surrounded by good people, having a good friend, working with other people, helping others, your company. All right, relatively, you guys have a general idea. Relationships, people I love, teamwork. All right, so yes, this is all yes, exactly. You guys are on the right track. All right, so companionship used to be someone that your friends who you hang out with, who you surround yourself with. But what happened is that these platforms actually changed the definition of companionship, and they changed in terms of how you hang out with people, how companionship and role models are formed, right? And how companionship influences us subconsciously. Right, so that's what I'm going to cover now, right? And I'm going to cover briefly of the concept of play in Islam. So like I said, the Prophet ﷺ made often spoke to his companions about the value of good companionship, right? He emphasized the need to surround ourselves with good people. People who hold the same values, beliefs that we do. Make the best friends, companionships, right? Make so People who hold the same values and beliefs that we have, they make the best friends and companions, right? Difference of opinions, different lifestyles and interests that are not necessarily in terms of Islam make our friendships interesting but challenging, especially if we don't have the same foundation. And what is that foundation? Islam. Right? Friendship and companionship are important in Islam. A good friend is one who accepts your shortcomings, but at the same time guides and supports you. Right? A good friend is who accommodates your faults but corrects them where possible. A good friend is the one who loves you and forgives you for the sake of Allah. Right? And so it is important to choose our friends carefully. Prophet Muhammad SAW warned the believers about this too. He said a person would be influenced by his friends, and he warned that everyone should look carefully at those who they consider their friends. And we're going to come back to this, right? Now, what we can understand this is that it is easy to be influenced by the people around us. It is easy to take on their mannerisms and quality without even recognize it, right? Like without being aware of it. I'm going to take a quick break. Can your friend be non-Muslim and still support you in Islam? Yes, but we'll come back to that in a little bit, all right? If these are good qualities, then it is a good thing. But if the people you consider friends push you away from the remembrance of Allah, does not remind you to go prayer, or, tell you to look at certain videos that are not good, or waste your time, like you're playing games and Zohar time goes by and you're like still playing, right? That's not a good friend, right? Or if a person is like, oh, let's do this makeup, and does makeup go in haya? Haya and makeup are in a way opposites of each other. Do you think that's good? No, it isn't. What about clothing, right? I know this isn't pertaining to boys, but for girls, right, we know what is acceptable to wear in Islam and what is not. So if you're following certain trends that are your friend is pushing because it's cool or whatever that is, that may not be a right friend for you. Right? So I want to cover this ayah, right? And the surah, verse number 27, and remember the day when the wrongdoer, right? So someone who left. What if a bad friend acts like a good friend? All right, so a wrongdoer is someone who is not Muslim, all right, who left Islam, will bite on his hand, right? So it's in a way like he's like regretting his actions, and he will say, oh, would that I had taken a path with the messenger. Ah, woe to me. Would that I had never taken so and so as a friend. He indeed led me astray from the reminder of the Quran and after it had come to me. So this is actually about a person that was at the same time, the Prophet ﷺ was preaching, right? He used to have all these dinner parties, and like this dinner party, he invited the Prophet ﷺ, right? And what happened was that his friend at that time told him, oh, you're inviting the Prophet? I'm not coming to your party. And this is a very loose tafsir of it. I'm breaking it down for you guys. He's like, I don't want anything to do with that person who's making a mockery of our ancestors, all of those things that they used to say about the Prophet ﷺ. He was like, he believed it, and he told them, do not invite him. If you invite him, I am not going to be your friend. That's basically what he was saying. And on the day of judgment, you know what he said? He didn't invite the Prophet. In fact, he took away his invitation. And you know what happened? He would say on the day of judgment, like, I wish I sided with the Prophet. I wish I listened to the Prophet. And I wish I did not have that friend who led me astray. We don't want to be one of those who are like, oh, I wish I wasn't friends with this person because, he did not help me or she did not help me, right? So you have to be very, very careful in terms of who your friends are. And we know the story of the blacksmith and the perfume seller, right? A good companion is like the one who sells perfume, and a bad one is like a blacksmith, right? You can get burned or have a bad smell from the blacksmith, or you can smell nice or, get perfume from the perfume seller. We know this hadith, right? Now, what do we do once we have good friends? I know this is like a beaten topic. Everyone tells you to have good companionship, but it's a huge thing, especially in your age. Like friendships really, really matter. And now when we find good friends, it's important to keep and maintain that friendship, right? Good friends are connected by their love of Allah. Hiba, we will come back to that. All right, so in this, a person must be prepared to overlook some of the faults of his brother or sister in Islam, and but they still have to guide them. So if someone is doing something bad, you have to tell them that, you know what, this is wrong. Allah does not like this. This is a sin, and therefore we do not do it, right? And that is how it is. A friend should keep each other in check, right? Now, why am I bringing up companionship in terms of trends, right? Why am I talking about the same old topic over and over again? Because who you spend time with virtually, because, you guys are always connected with your friends online and physically can affect the way you think, right? So what you think is cool, what you think you should be doing, right? All of these things are affected, right? So who you hang out with or who you follow on those platforms or online, they also, what's it called, um, are your friends in a way, right? You give them so much time, in a way, they're your friends, right? You know everything about their life by following them. So therefore, you also will take into account what they say, how they talk, what they do. All of these things are affecting you. And that's why I wanted to change the definition of a companionship. It doesn't necessarily mean who you hang out with physically, right? It also could mean who you hang out virtually. And that is something that we need to remember, right? Now, I want you guys to think and see if you have friends that bring you closer to Allah or away from Allah. Think about everyone you hang out with physically and virtually. Do you think that they always take you back to Allah? Or do you think that, no, they're wasting my time from doing dhikr or doing more good in this world? So that's something that you guys need to think about, right? So again, are your friends also showing you videos or things that are useless, that are bad, that are wasting your time? Or are they showing you or helping you do beneficial things? Do they remind you to pray, dress modestly, do the right thing? That's something that you need to remember, right? So now let's go into the other aspect, right? And I'm going to reiterate this point, right? That you have your friends, but when you follow a blog or a YouTuber or a TikToker, and I know you guys do, I know you recognize their names and who they are, you're giving that person utmost attention, right? I know you're thinking right now that I'm just watching them. It's not a big deal, right? Like I'm not getting influenced by them. I just like to watch their videos because they're fun or they're cool, or not cool, but it's just like, oh, it's interesting, right? I'm not influenced by them. But what you guys have to remember is that what these people are say and do are affecting you subconsciously. It starts off with just listening. And then it goes on, oh, so and so had this game and it looked cool, so I'm gonna buy it. So and so wore this, I want it because it looked really nice. Like I said before, it's a marketing technique. I studied it at school, right? You think you're just watching random stuff, but the next thing you know, you're copying the person that you're watching, right? And this is just a little side note for you guys. I was watching this show. And it's a really funny show, but it's meant for adults, so I'm not mentioning the name. And when I was watching it, because I really, really liked it, I realized that I started to copy, not even thinking about it, the way they talk. She was talking like a white girl, a valley girl. I grew up in California. I have that accent too. And when I go back to California, it pops back out. And I started noticing that I was talking and like enunciating the vowels, sort of like what I'm doing right now, just like this person because I was watching it so much. I changed the tone of my voice because of this show. And now, did I mandatory? Like, did I do it purposely? No, it was totally subconscious. And my husband, I'm married, I have 3 kids, right? He mentioned it. He was just like, why are you talking like this person? And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I was. That's how they affect you. That's how crazy it is. Excuse me. All right. So, so again, you think you're just watching random stuff, but you end up copying the person that you're watching. It doesn't have to do with materialistic things. It could be just the way they do, what they wear, how they talk. You're imitating them without realizing it, just like how I did, right? Now, scientifically, you guys, 95% of all human behaviors are learned through looking up to role models. However, even if it was only partially true, let's just say that, you know what, this is exaggerated, right? This rate is totally exaggerated. It's still really important to say that we need to find better role models, that we need to have good role models, right? In this day and age, we are surrounded by technology and media, and it's like we end up choosing the wrong role models. Now, role models isn't necessarily like, I'm going to be like this person. It could just be someone that you constantly listen to. Now, this could be good. You can go follow an imam or a scholar that you listen to their Islamic lectures online, right? Or it could be a random YouTube player, gamer, right? What's it called? Gamer that you were like, I want to be like this person in terms of games. I'm going to learn their technique, or I'm going to learn this makeup technique, or the way they dress, right? It could be any of that stuff, right? So we have to figure out what type of life do we want to have, right? And not just have, what type of life is beneficial for us to gain Jannah. That's our goal. Our friends, our companions, our role models, every single person in our life should be putting us towards the way of Jannah, not for a comfortable life here. That is not our goal, to have a perfect life here. Our goal is to have a perfect life in Jannah. And so how can we achieve that? So, I want you guys to remember that, again, who you spend time with virtually and physically affects you, all right? And I'm going to wrap up this point, is that it is easy to be influenced by people, right? We need to make sure the people that we follow, watch, whatever it may be, their mannerisms and qualities bring us closer to Allah, right? And if we don't, maybe we need to rethink everything, right? All right. So now I want to cover something else. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really bad at PowerPoints. I had it. The other slides are like subconsciously affecting you, role models, and now this ayah. Excuse me. So now this ayah is in Surah Luqman, when he was giving advice to his son. And these are ayahs number 6 to 7. And among mankind are those who purchase lahwal hadith, right? So as to stray others away from the path of Allah, yet they make a mockery of the laws of Allah, and to them there is a graceful punishment. Give them the news of a painful punishment. So the word that I want to focus on today is lahwal hadith, idle talk. Now we can actually take this idle talk, right? It could be gossip, it could be music, it could be all of these things, but I want to take this in terms of wasting our time, all right? So when we are on these platforms, right, not only are we getting subconsciously affected, but we are also wasting our time being a part of like useless talk. You know, we'll hear music that we shouldn't be listened to, right? All of these things are happening within these platforms. So why do we do it? Is it guiding us to Allah? No, it's not. It's actually leading us astray. It's putting our hearts into materialistic things, right? And it could be just random stuff. Like you're like, oh, this isn't hurtful, right? Not everything is necessarily bad, right? But it starts off with, you know, I don't have a good word for this, and I'm going to use this word. It starts off with just dumb things, right? You just say dumb things. You're just listening to someone do like funny things, and then it goes into wasting time, and then it goes into I'm doing it, it's cool, right? And then next thing you know, they're doing things that Islam says do not do, and they're like, I don't care about your religion, right? I'm going to do it because I want to do it, because it's my way of having freedom, because it's freedom of speech, right? But yes, we have those rights, but we also have to remember the rules of Allah. So if this takes us away from the path of Allah, then why are we doing it? And this goes into Fortnite. I actually play Fortnite because my son likes it. He likes to break down buildings. So when I play Fortnite, I somehow, I'm not very tech savvy. Somehow I came across and I was able to hear the other players play, right? Like, so I was hearing their conversations and they're not using good language, right? It's actually very violent and it's not a good game. Like I don't like this game at all and I don't agree with it. And so I made it a point to not let my son play it. But that's something that's going on, right? So that is also idle talk that leads us astray, right? And then the next part is they make a mockery of the laws of Allah. Now, they might not just, these people, whoever they are in the social media platform, they might not just say that, excuse me, they might not just say that Islam is bad, right? Or Islam is like this. They might not outright say it, but the fact that they don't follow Islam and break the rules of Islam, that's in a way of making a mockery of Allah's law, right? That's something that we need to remember. Because we don't stand up for what is right in Islam, in the eyes of Allah, we are also thinking it's a joke. Like, oh yeah, I don't really need to do this. No, it's not a joke. This is what we need to do. We need to pray Salah on time. We need to make sure that we're not having bad language. We need to make sure we're not following trends that take us away from Allah. So this is something that we need to remember. And if we do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it blatantly. There is a graceful punishment. Give them a news of a painful punishment. It's hell, right? It starts off small. It starts off innocent, right? But it eventually leads to the point of going away from Allah. And that's something that we need to prevent, right? Your heart does not get black overnight, right? You probably already heard this. Like if you sin, it blackens your heart if you don't ask for forgiveness. And if you continuously sin, eventually your whole heart becomes black and then you are away from the truth, even if it's in front of you. So like I said, it starts off small and this is how it starts. And I want you guys to be aware of it, all right? Now, I get the need to fit in. I get the need to feel accepted. And that's why we do it. That's why we get them into trends. That's why we give into games that are going on. That's why we give into the fashion that's happening. That's why we do everything. It's all about fitting in and feeling accepted. But this statement right here, when I was young, my mom would throw this statement back in my face. Do we need it or do we want it? So that's something that you guys need to remember. When you're placed in a situation where you want something or want to do something or want to watch to something, right? I'm using want. You need to ask yourself, do I need to do this or do I want to do it? Is this beneficial? Is it not beneficial? Right? And my mom would make me do this every time I wanted to buy something from the store. She was like, do you need it or do you want it? And obviously it was always want, so I ended up never getting anything, right? But that's a really good habit to have in every aspect of our life. Do I need to do this? Do I not need to do this? Do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this? Always go back into what is the root cause of doing whatever you want to do, right? Then my other question is for these trends that we are following in, and I didn't want to pinpoint one or two because I think there's too many and I'm too old to keep up with all of you guys. But what do we lose by obtaining it? So let's say you do something. What are you losing? And the example that I'm going to give you, because I am a gamer and I like to play different types of games. I am a big I like Nintendo a lot better than the Xbox series, but my husband's an Xbox person. So what ends up happening when I do play a game, I waste so much time. Like it's like 2 hours went by and I don't even understand where the time went, right? So I lost time, right? I lost time. I wasted that time. I could have done something more productive. Or if I start following makeup artists and I'm trying to put on that makeup, what did I lose? Um, I think someone unmuted themselves. But right, so that's something that you guys need to realize. Okay, so makeup, what did I lose by doing that? Maybe a little bit of confidence. Maybe like I can't go outside without making makeup. I'm not, you know, um, so, I don't want to get into this because it's a whole different topic. Or clothing. Did I lose my modesty by doing this? What's my purpose of wearing um, super fashionable and maybe not appropriate clothing? Is it to get attention? What type of attention do we want, right? Why do I want this toy? What's the purpose of this toy? Is it because materialistic? I want to show off this toy, game, whatever it may be, right? That's something that we need to realize. What are we losing? You know what? We're losing our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Um, and then it's very interesting in terms of, I was actually 16, so I was a lot older, and it's not really necessarily why I'm junior, but a little bit more. Um, my Imam of the masjid, he actually said that it is better to be alone and have no friends rather be in bad company. All right. And so being popular for materialistic reasons, for worldly reasons, is not worth it. It is better to be alone and closer to Allah than be surrounded by bad people and away from Allah. And that's something that I want you guys to remember when choosing your friends, your companions, your role models, right? All right. Um, one more point. So I want you to understand when you're also following trends, right? Um, because you find them cool or you find them interesting or you find them smart or whatever it may be, whatever you do, why you want to do it, like whoever you follow, right? You think that you're going to gain popularity, you think you're going to be able to fit in, you think that you're going to be doing all of these things, but in reality it just makes you a copycat. It doesn't make you unique, because you copying them just makes you a copy of them. It doesn't make you you, right? So that's something that I want you guys to think about. Do you want to be a copycat or do you want to be your own person? So that being said, what is the solution, right? What is the solution? Now, this is actually really hard, right? And I sat there thinking, how do we do this, right? And I don't think there's one way to do this, but I looked in Sierra, I looked at different things, and I used my own personal experience in terms of getting that. Um, the first and foremost is choose our friends and role models wisely. I've already been over why, right? Alhamdulillah, our Islamic history is, you know, peppered, like it has plenty of amazing role models. It has men, it has women, it has children. If you dig into Sirah, you'll find someone to relate to, right? And from them, we learn how to be great mothers, great fathers, great teachers, friends, students, whatever it may be, there's always an example of it, right? Obviously, we have our prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So seeing these positive displays of good morals, manners, and determination will power and high ethical standards help others emulate, so copy these positive attributes. I rather you copy a companion than someone that's not Muslim or someone who's just a trend, right? Now, I understand that this is in the Sirah, and sometimes, like, you're reading a book, it's not a real person, it's really hard to connect. I totally get that, right? But look around for people in your community, older brothers, older sisters who are caring, who are kind, who are good Muslims, and I'm pretty sure you can find it, right? Or if you can't find older brothers and sisters, because like I was the eldest in my community, so it was very hard for me to find an older person to look up to, then you have your parents. I know that's not cool, but you have your parents that you can talk to. You have your uncles, you have your aunties. You need someone that you can talk to and share things with. Everyone. And you know, whoever's listening in terms of the parents, you should be an open book for your children. The children should be able to go to you and they should tell you everything without you acting negative to it. You have to act like it doesn't faze you, and you need to be a friend. And that's exactly what the Prophet ﷺ was to everyone. Everyone thought, you know, he was closest to me. And that's something that we need to copy, right? So that is choose our friends and role models wisely. Then the next thing that I want to talk about is disconnect and reflect. And I think this might be like really, really hard for you guys, but disconnect from social media and virtual, whatever it may be, whatever connects you, whether it's your Xbox or Wii or whatever it may be, or it's your cell phone or it's your PC, your computer or laptop, tablet, whatever. There's so many things out there now, right? I want you to disconnect from it and disconnect from your physical friends as well, right? Find out who you are. What makes you different? Who are you? That's what you need to find out. What makes you unique and not a follower? What distinguishes you? And I'm repeating the same questions in different words because I want you to really think about it. And we go back, do I want it? Do I need it, right? Why are you doing whatever action you may be doing? Okay, it could be buying something, changing clothes, attitude. What is the root of the desire or intention behind it? Is it to look good, cool, or to fit in? You don't know what cool is, so you want to copy someone else? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Can you like tell me why if I asked you, or you need to think about it? So disconnect and reflect. And guess what? This is from the Sirah. The Prophet ﷺ used to do this all the time. Yes, he didn't have social media, but why would he go into the cave of Hira? The whole city's here. He would leave the city to go to the cave. Why? To reflect. Why is my community doing what they're doing? Why are they so backwards? Why is there alcohol? Why are women treated like this? He had all these whys. And obviously Allah gave him the answer. For you, you have to think, who are you? Why is this happening? Why are you doing what it is? It's an internal reflection. And if you can't find that answer, maybe there's something else, right? So maybe you need to dig deeper. Maybe you need to find out. Why don't you have answers to those questions? All right. The third solution that I want to bring up is connect with Allah and His Deen. All right. The more you know about Islam and what it means to be Muslim, what's it called? The more you will be proud of who you are. Right? So you need to figure out what Islam is about. Why do we pray 5 times a day? Why do we need to fast? Why do we need to dress modestly? Why can't we waste our time? Why can't we listen to music? Why can't we do these? Ask questions. There's no haya in knowledge. Ask why. And you know what? The companions used to do that too. They would break down the ayahs like, what does this word mean? What is this context? Right? They used to ask all of these things, right? To understand the religion fully. And they had the Prophet right in front of them. We don't have the Prophet and we don't ask these questions. So how can we truly understand Islam? So that's something that you guys need to take upon yourself. The sooner the better, right? Read the Quran, read the tafsir with your parents, with whoever can teach you. Understand the religion that is given to us, which is a huge, huge, huge blessing, right? Because once you understand what it is, you're going to be proud of who you are, right? Now, lastly, understand who it is. Now you're going to develop your identity. Now, whatever trend it is, as someone mentioned, I was focusing on virtual based. Not everyone is into social media. I understand that. But majority of the kids are. And you can take the trends from social media. I don't know what trends are happening outside of social media. So if you want to fill me in, you can totally fill me in on that. I want, once you figure out who you are and all these trends, like Visco girl, right? I heard so and so is a Visco girl. Okay, great. It's a Visco girl. I'm not going to go into what it is, but But isn't she a Muslim first? Right? Or he's a great gamer. Isn't he a Muslim first? Right? You have to remember that once we know Allah, His Rasul, His religion, we have to remember that we are Muslim first. Our identity should be that I am Muslim. That should be the first and foremost thing. They shouldn't look at you and think it's a trend that's going on. They should think at you and like, oh, that's a Muslim. You know, he prays Salah during school, or she wears a hijab, right? Not necessarily everyone does this. I'm just giving obvious clues, right? So all of these things are going to be, um, you know, something that I want you guys to, when someone looks at you, they need to be Muslim, right? That's what they should think out. You need to stand out because you're a Muslim. And that is going to be the most amazing thing ever. Because one, you will be proud of what you are doing, right? Because you know it is right. Right? When you're on the path of Allah and you understand why we do what we do, then you will be proud of what you're doing because you know it's right and you don't mind sticking out. Muslims are not supposed to fit in. They're not supposed to be trend followers. In fact, they're supposed to be trendsetters. And what are we trying to trend? The life of Allah, like how He wants us to live, His deen, right? He wants us to um, pray 5 times a day, have good morals, have good character, be honest, be trustworthy. That's what needs to stand out. Someone that looks at you shouldn't think like, oh, you know what, she's so and so trend, or that's so and or he's doing that, right? It should be like, man, this person is the most trustworthy and truthful person. This person is really nice. That is the trend that we need to set that's not being set anymore, right? Now, now what I'm mentioning, it's not easy to do. They don't happen overnight. It's a step-by-step process. But the first step is to recognize that, yes, I am Muslim. I am different. I will do the right thing to seek the pleasure of Allah. And if I need to be alone for this moment and I not have any friends, that's okay. Our self-worth is not defined by how many friends or followers that you may have, right? Or how many things you have, or how good you are at games, right? Or whatever it may be, right? But rather you're judged on your relationship with Allah and your family. So inshallah khair, last thought, as you see it on the PowerPoint, is choose our role models wisely, find out who you are, work on those strengths, you yourself be an influencer for good rather than materialistic items or waste time or like wasteful time activities. All right, so inshallah khair, now I will open it up for questions, which I see. So shoot this way, and then inshallah khair, we will end with dua and end the seminar inshallah khair. Do we have any questions? Hiba, you need to repeat your question. And as for Yara, that said that you're not socially connected, tell me what trends are going on and I can address them right now. I don't know what happened. I cannot see. Where'd it go? Okay, I have this. Okay. Hold on. There's a bunch of things going on and I can't see. All right, let's see this. It's so small that I cannot figure it out. All right. We're not playing Kahoot. What if you have an Insta but you don't post anything? Okay, you don't post anything, then what's the point of having an Instagram? Are you trying to keep up with other people? Are you spying on them? Because you know that spying on people is also bad, right? So what's the point of having an Instagram? So that's something that you need to rethink. Why do I have it? Why do I want it? Why am I looking at other people's profiles? Is music haram? That is a whole different topic, and I do not have time to do it because it goes into a lot of different fiqh aspects and what it is. But overall, anything that sways you, can move your heart, that can make you, like that plays with your emotion besides the Quran is dangerous. And so I'm going to leave it at that. Do non-Muslims automatically go to hell? If you do not believe in Islam and the message of Islam never got to you, or no, sorry. If you do not believe in Islam and the message got to you, then yes, possibly. Well, wallahu alam, Allah is the best of judges in terms of that. But if the message of Islam did not get to you, then Allah is your judge. So again, a very complicated question. What is the right age to get an iPhone? You got to ask your parents on that, man. iPhones are expensive. Bills are really expensive. So you got to ask your dad and mom when they think it's right for you to get an iPhone. If you have a friend that is a boy, but they respect your religion. Now, this is a very complicated question because we're going into gender interaction. We have gender interaction in the sense, like, what's the purpose of this friendship? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that boys and girls are supposed to be separate. And there is a right reason for that, because we don't want to get into things that are necessarily haram, right? So, question, why do you need to have this friend close to you, right? Are you not finding a better friend in terms of a Muslim friend, right? How is this friendship beneficial to your iman? Right? That's something that I want you to ask yourself. Again, this is a very complicated question. How to deal with middle schoolers who think it's funny to do the same thing over and over again because someone else goes, yeah, that's called a trend. Honestly, ignore them. Middle school is a very awkward age, and you guys know this, right? So this is what I mean, but you need to be different. You're a Muslim, you're different. You're not supposed to be a trend follower. I know people are going to fall into it, but you need to take a stand and be like, dude, that's not cool. Yeah, everyone's doing it, but just because everyone does it, it's not cool. If everyone jumped off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge? It's that same concept. So that's something that you guys need to remember, right? My friend is an atheist, and during Ramadan, she reminds me not to eat food and drink. Does this count? My friend, she's an atheist. Okay, it just stupid. So, oh man, like I said, I'm gonna go into what the Prophet ﷺ said, right? That your friends influence you, right? Right now, alhamdulillah, she's supportive of you and you're fasting, but later on, it may become more complicated. So again, when it comes to friends, does that friend remind you of Allah? Does that friend guide you to Allah? Right? Does that person bring you closer to Allah? Those are the three questions that you should be asking yourself in terms of the friendship. Right now, obviously, I'm not saying that you should shun people and be like, no, you're not a Muslim, or you don't believe in God, or whatever it may be, and therefore I can't be friends with you. That's not the point too. The Prophet ﷺ used to meet with all different religions and different types of people, and yet he was welcoming. So we have to learn how to be respectful as well as remain cordial ties. But your closest friend, your closest advisor, your best friend, right, or whoever you keep close should be a Muslim, a good Muslim, right? And then, may Allah guide her, inshallah khair. Be a good role model so that when she thinks about Muslims, she's like, I used to have this one friend who was very nice to me and she didn't judge me. So that's something that we need to remember. Again, very complicated question and not enough time. What's wrong with, there's a lot of typo. What's wrong? I think it's saying what's wrong with playing a little bit of video games with here and there with restrictions. There's nothing wrong. Again, you should, restrictions, not waste your time. It's okay to do it, but remember, is this activity that you're doing bringing you closer to Allah or away from Allah? Are you missing your prayers? Are you willing to stop it in the middle of a game and go pray? Or are you letting your game get in the way of your duties as a Muslim? So that's what you need to remember. I play games all the time, but I make sure that my salat is done, work is done, homework is done, whatever I may do, everything is done, and then I get to play it during my free time. But remember, you can always spend your time better, right? You can do dhikr, you can read an intellectual book that helps you. Video games just help us relax, not necessarily help us gain any knowledge. How can we limit our kids to be on our devices? Now, this is a parenting question. Timer. I have all of my kids' stuff, and I'm a parent that definitely uses technology to babysit my kids. They're all linked on this thing called Family Link. It's a Google thing, and I can turn off their tablet from my phone, and I can put a timer on it, 1 hour a day, and if it shuts off, it shuts off. And there's a bedtime for it. So after 9, they're not allowed to do it. Once my kids get older, the Wi-Fi is gonna get shut off. Everything's gonna get changed, because it's our responsibility. But not only that, if you're going to limit your children's exposure to technology, you also need to limit your exposure. So that doesn't mean that we turn on the TV and watch our serials, or we're on our phone scrolling through WhatsApp or Facebook. So we need to also set an example for ourselves. All right, what about books? Does it count as a distraction? Books, again, every aspect can be used good or bad, right? So if it gets in the way of your Muslim duties, then yes, it is a distraction. I can get lost in a book and I don't even realize what happened. I'm a big book reader, right? So you have to remember it. And also, what are you reading? Is it appropriate material? Because a lot of books are very different, right? So that's what that is. What is a trend? Something that's going on that everyone else is following. So it could be hairstyles, it could be dress code, it could be a game, whatever it may be. I repeated my question. Is it fine to make a TikTok? No, I disagree with TikToks. None of you guys should be making any TikToks. It's a platform, guys. You go online and you have no access to get it back. Everyone can download it. They can put it everywhere. So none of you guys should be making any videos or TikToks or posts that your parents do not approve of. You're too young to do so. And I recommend that you stay off of these platforms. All right. I still have an Xbox 360. When is it time for an actual phone? You got to ask your parents. Can you go back to the second slide, please? Okay, I'll go back to the second slide after this. Why do people do what they do when they know it's wrong? You know, Shaitan is our enemy, right? When Shaitan is our enemy, he is able to get to us in a way that we don't even understand, right? So he's able to influence us. So it starts off with a simple whisper, and then we fall into this trap. So we have to constantly be on the path of Allah and ask for forgiveness and ask for refuge against that, right? And then inshallah, whoever does the wrong, they wake up and they realize that it is wrong. All right. My friends play games soon as so, but I feel left out and I don't play. I feel like I'm missing on new updates. Where do I stand and how do I manage it? That's really hard, guys. Feeling left out is really big, especially in this day and age, right? I understand it's difficult, especially where you might have stricter parents than other people. And you may think it's unfair. Like, they get to do it, why can't I do it? I dealt with that a lot growing up. But again, what do you gain by doing so? Just companionship? And if that friendship is just based on playing games, then maybe that's not the right friendship that you should have. You guys can play anytime. They can play with you maybe on a time that your parents approve, right? So you just need to be like, hey man, my parents are not okay with it. I have to respect my parents because Allah tells us to respect our parents. I'll play with you on Saturday when my mom lets me or when my dad lets me. It's hard. I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just saying that if they're truly your friends, they should understand. And you shouldn't feel bad about listening to your parents. What if your Muslim friend took off their hijab and their parents don't know about it? Ooh, what should I do? Ooh, that's a hard one. Okay, so my friend did the same thing in high school. She did it in high school, and I stayed quiet. And now that friend is not in a good place. So I would say, if you can, tell your mom who can tell her mom. But I think your duty as a Muslim friend, even though your friend might hate you, in the end, is to tell her parents so that they realize. It's not your job is to do the right thing. And maybe this will save that person from doing more bad things. And I made that decision to not tell her mom at that moment, and I regret it. I wish I told her mom because maybe it would have saved her in a different way, right? So inshallah khair. Do kids have to stay away from girls? I am 10. You can ask your mom and dad what they think, what rules they have. right? Do you have to have a companion? No, you don't have to have a companion. You could be by yourself, and that's perfectly fine. You can be by yourself with your mom and dad, and that's fine. Until you find a like-minded person that you want to hang out with, by all means, be happy, be alone, do your own thing. I agree with, I've done it until I found really good friends who understood me, understood where I was religiously, and then helped me be a better person. So, like I said, it is better to be alone than to have bad friends. Is it bad to have a friend who's part of the LGBTQ community? That is a topic in its own, guys. I am not going into it because that is I want only older kids to be part of that conversation. Or maybe that we can talk about this later. Why do we have to pray? Unfortunately, this is not a platform to talk about Salah right now, but basic answer is that Allah told us to, therefore we should. I am going to webinar recorded. It could be your sibling. Yes, it could be your sibling. What if my friend is a non? Like I said, friends, just go back to the rules that are placed, right? If that person is bringing you closer to Allah, then yes. But if that person is taking you away from Allah, then no, right? But in the end, it is best to have good Muslim friends, all right? Because when you guys get older, having non-Muslim friends becomes complicated. You don't understand it right now, but when they get older, that's when it gets complicated, right? I'm talking about high school and college. Webinar recorded, I'm not sure. I think it is recorded and they'll be sending it out. Can you do it for fun? Yes, you may do it for fun. Everything in its own limits. Can you go to the second slide? I did. Is it okay if I watch history videos about mythology? As long as it is for educational purposes, I say it's okay. Watch it with your parents if you need us. I was completely into Egyptian mythology and Greek mythology. I studied it, and I'm glad that I did because I can see the flaws in it and how Islam is the right religion. Again, do it with an adult that can explain what's going on as well. What if you're trying to do something accidentally bad? It's okay. Allah will forgive you. Ask for forgiveness. What is the device you use to limit games on internet? I will find it. Actually, it's my husband's the IT person, but on my phone, it's called Family Link, and it's Google. And then you have to download it on both applications, and you're able to do that. In terms of internet, you have your Wi-Fi. You can change your Wi-Fi password. Is it okay to be a trend follower? Yes, it's okay to be a trend follower, but I say, what are you losing by being a trend follower? That's my question. Why do you want to be a trend follower? Right? Who are you besides this trend follower? I will skip that. Is Trump on Twitter? Yes, he's on Twitter. He's fun to follow too. Why do people upgrade phones when they at least have a phone? To each their own, right? Their parents buy it for them, therefore. Fourth slide. Okay, let me do the fourth slide. Here's the companionship one, but the thing is I'm covering it with the question, so it's very difficult. I will email this presentation to them as well. Vaping haram. How old are you, Akhtar Rashid? That's my question. Is Akhtar here? If you can respond back to that. I'm gonna skip that. Can I make a Snapchat that I keep for myself? This person left. Why do you have Snapchat? I guess is my question. What's the point? You're very young. There's no point in having Snapchat. Is it okay to be a trend follower as long as you keep your duties to Allah? Like I said, it's not bad. None of this is bad, but what is it taking you away from, right? Why do you need to follow this trend? I will share this presentation, inshallah. No, it is a haram if you're religious but don't wear a scarf at school. No, this is a personal relationship between you and Allah, and obviously whenever you're ready, it's better to wear the scarf then. But again, talk to your parents, talk to a religious person who's around you. They're able to help you. I don't believe in forcing children, you guys, to wear scarf because then there's always resentment. But like I said, it is fard. Wearing scarf is fard, so therefore it is something that Allah has told us to do. But again, talk to someone. What if you are always lonely at school? Look, guys, when I was younger, I was being bullied. Elementary school, I was bullied. People used to pull on my scarf. I didn't really have that many friends. It was very hard for me to go to school and I barely talked to anyone. I just did my work and I went home, right? And then the more sure I became in my religion and in my identity, like this is what I like, this is what I don't like. I don't need to hang out with the popular kids. I don't need to like you'll find your group. And maybe you won't find your group at school, you'll find it at the masjid. You'll find it in, your mom's friends group, like when you have like kids, right? So friendships are very difficult. And this time period is very difficult, but I can tell you that it gets better. And you don't feel, don't, the biggest thing is you don't need to feel alone because Allah is always with you and Allah is always watching, right? And find other ways to distract yourself, right? The biggest thing for me was I would read. I would get lost in books. I used to read like Islamic books and, obviously approved books that my parents, I used to do things that would, take me into a different world and that was okay, right? So do things literally like lunches. I didn't have anyone to sit with, so I would go sit in the library. Obviously things changed. I ended up having friends in high school, in college, and obviously I grew up and I have a bunch of friends now, right? So you're never always going to be stuck at this position. So trudge it through. It's okay. You're not alone. A lot of people feel lonely. All right. Allah is always with you, and that's what you need to remember. And you all need to remember that your mom and dad and your siblings love you. You always have people that love you, right? So you're not alone. And don't let people at school bully you or think that you don't have friends. Because, again, like I said, I didn't have friends for a while too. And alhamdulillah, I turned out okay, and I have friends now. What if your friend's brother dates? Danya, that's a very complicated question. I would tell your parents. Tell your parents everything. So if your parents decide to take action on it, then it's not on you. um, what do we do if we're not successful in making friends? Because no, you don't need to be trending to have friends. It's a conversation starter, right? You don't need to do what everyone else is doing to make friends because that is not a true friend. All right. Just knowing about the trends, like I know about the trends and I'm talking to you guys. I'm not a Visco girl. I'm not I'm not all of these whatever's trending, right? But I'm able to talk to you guys and you understand everything I was saying. So use it. I know what's going on. Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I get it, right? And you can use that as a conversation starter. Being part of trends does not make friendships. And if they are making friendships, they are superficial friendships. Why do people want to be a trend? I don't know, man. Why do people want to be a trend follower? It's easy. It's easy to be a follower, but it's hard to be a leader. If it was easy to be a leader, then everyone would be a leader. And that's something that you guys need to remember. To be different, to be unique, to be strong, it is difficult. People don't want you to be any of those things. They want you to be followers. And Islam, alhamdulillah, liberated us. Allah liberated us from this mentality. And so we should give in to what Allah tells us and be different and be a leader. It's his daughter. I'm 16. 16. Okay, yeah, you're a high schooler. Okay. Yes, vaping is haram. And I cannot go into it more because we have younger kids here, okay? Don't say my name. My dad's gonna kill me. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what his Safia, I don't know what you are saying right now, but it's a random question, therefore I'm not saying it out loud. Aisha Haq, that is a very complicated question. I'm not reading it out loud, but basically it's essential part of our iman to understand that Islam is the last religion and it is the right religion. We need to truly believe in this because it's the belief in the unseen. Right? If you have more questions about this, I can ask the coordinators to give an email and you can write your questions and we can talk then, all right? What if all your friends want to go to a dance? Is it okay to go with them? I don't agree with dances. I went to school here. I went to elementary school here, middle school here, high school here, right? And obviously college here. So I grew up, I'm sort of like you guys. My parents are immigrants, and I grew up here. Dances, no, I don't see the point of them. There's music, right? Um, and there's gender interaction. I understand that there are chaperones present, but again, what's the point? I'm just hanging out with my friends. You can hang out with your friends in a different setting. It is not like when I would tell my friends, because all of my friends would go. I was part of this actually group called Leadership, and I used to actually decorate the gymnasium for the dances. So it was mandatory for our group to go to the gym for the dances and be part of it because we're the ones that organized it. Like I would come up with the theme, I would decorate, I would do everything because it was a part of that class. But I would say I put my foot down. I was like, no, I'm not going. It is not permitted in my religion, and I'm not going. And so the teacher respected that and was like, no, you don't have to go. But leadership was a class in the middle school that I used to go to. It's literally called leadership. And we used to do fundraisings, we used to do pep rallies, we used to put together gyms. People used to use us as, um, teacher aides, things like that. So if I could put my foot down and say no to a dance, even though it was required for me to go to, and my friends respected that, when you uphold your beliefs, when you are sure of your religion and what your values are and what your morals are, and you stand by them, people will respect you, right? They do not put you down because you believe in what you are saying, right? You're not wishy-washy. You're not going to just give in, right? You're not going to be like, oh yeah, she's Muslim, but it's okay, she does these things. They're not going to respect you for that, right? So that's something that you need to realize. So I say no to dances. Obviously, you can talk to your parents about it, but I disagree with that. Um, how to be a leader? I think that's a little complex. There's a lot about it, but the first step is find out who you are, disconnect, reflect, be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, understand why we need to why do we pray? Why do we fast? Why did Allah set these rules for us? Find out the reasoning why. Don't just do them, find out the reasoning why. And then what type of person do you want to be? Do you want to be known as honest? Do you want to know as trustworthy? Do you want to be the person that you can rely on, right? And it starts off small. And it starts off with basically your character, right? The Prophet ﷺ was an orphan and he did not read or write, right? What was his reputation? That he was an honest and trustworthy man, and people believed him based off of these two qualities. And that's what made him a leader. And then we know what happened later on. So it starts off small, but the first thing is realizing who you are and being true to that. We can go into this later, but that's another different topic. I have a shirt that says "Be you." Definitely be you. Can you not answer that? Okay, I cannot. I'll make sure not to do that. Um, what are what if your friends are on trends and you feel left out? How do you make new Muslim friends? Um, okay, so how do you make new Muslim friends? You have to go to different Muslim programs, right? You have to go to the masjid. You should go to MCNA. You should go to YM Junior. You should go to halakas. That's where you will find Muslim friends, all right? If you're not going to an Islamic environment, how are you going to find Muslim friends, right? Like go to the masjid, go to these Islamic events that are happening, go to MCNA, go to YM Junior, meet the people there and start friendships there. That's how you end up making friends. Majority of my friends, we used to meet at Maghrib at masjid, right? So that's how you have to do. Hina, that's a very complicated question, but basically that was the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, so we follow it. Can I go to the sixth glide? Is it okay for Muslims to be in the army or navy? I don't have the answer to that question, so we're going to move on from that. I'm not going into music again. Music, doesn't matter what type of music it is, it's the same thing, right? Is it okay to not have non-Muslim friends? Yes, but again, they influence you, so be careful. My 16-year-old, I'm not allowed to answer your questions, but I say no. So any type of extensions that are not, like I said, I can't answer your questions anymore, dude. So that's pretty much it. Anything else pertaining to this topic? I think I went through everything. There are no Muslim girls in my school, even though I have Muslims. Is it okay to have non-Muslim friends? Yes, 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 yes. Non-Muslim friends are okay, but I want you to be careful of how you can get influence. You should be the influencer. You should be telling them about Islam. You should tell them that Islam is peace. Islam means this. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it shouldn't be that the non-Muslims influence you, but rather you influence them. Invite them to your masjid. Invite them to your masjid, right? Like, invite them to programs that they can be a part of, right? Invite them to your home with your mom and dad's permission, right? Like, show them what it means to be Muslim. All right, so inshallah khair, that's what it is. You're very welcome for all of these things. Inshallah khair, whatever good that is out of here is from Allah alone, and whatever weaknesses I may have or shortcomings in this program is from me and the shaitan, right? So inshallah khair, I hope I put in a little bit insight into this. And inshallah khair, let's end with Surah Al-Asr and we'll go from there. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Jazakallah khair, everyone, for being part of this. I'll pass it on to the.
Thank you, Sister Safia, for such a great class. Let's end with the dua, and then everyone can go. I know we're over time. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Glory is to you, O Allah, and praise is to you. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship but you. I seek your forgiveness and I repent to you. Thank you everyone for attending, and I hope you had a great session and learned a lot. Allah Hafiz.
Assalamu alaikum.